Today we're taking a look at how to build forms, but not in the conventional way. I've always kind of hated building forms. It takes a long time and it's annoying, and especially it's annoying if you are a business. I mean, we're not, but some of our clients are businesses who provide documents to clients. They build documents for other clients. And occasionally for these documents, you typically need to collect a lot of data. And if you have 10 variables, it's okay to build a form on JotForm or on Fillout or on some other service like that. But what if you have like 100 variables? Yeah, it's going to take a long time and it's going to be really annoying. So in the previous episode, we managed to collect or to extract variables from a given text. And we used an NDA, had some placeholders, all great. ChatGPT extracted them, gave us a description, it was all cool. But today what we're going to do, we're going to take those variables and dynamically create a form from them. So yeah, without any further ado, we're going to do our typical spiel, which is I'm going to show you a demo. Then we're going to go through the setup of the database. We're using Airtable today. And then I'm going to show you around the automation. There's going to be an automation link down in the description below. So yeah, that's that. If you're new here, my name is Alex, and on this channel, we do a lot of automation, a lot of setups like the one that I'm going to show you now. So do consider subscribing. And yeah, without any further ado, let's get going. All right, let's do this. So we're going to begin with just creating a client. So I'm going to pretend that I'm a business that has got clients, and for those clients, I need to now collect data in order for them to constantly be able to create NDAs. I think you will see what I mean in a second. So initially, let's create a client. So Acme Incorporated. Perfect. Then I'm going to go into client documents. This is where I marry a client and a specific document. So let's say Acme, and I only have one document type, which is, well, I have lots, but the one that we want to use is a non-disclosure agreement. Great, and then we have some fields here, description for the document. Well, I'm just going to say, please fill it out. So related client variables, these are essentially the variables from this type of document, non-disclosure agreement, which we pulled in the previous episode. Go ahead and watch that. I'll probably put a link somewhere in the description or something like that. So these are these variables, but these are like the master variables for that particular type of document. And what we want to do is we want to have a copy that is client specific so that I don't edit my master variables. I have them. They are my default variables for that document. But if I want to change the name a little bit, if I want to change the description a little bit, I can do that on a client by client basis. So that's exactly why we have client variables. We marry the client, the document variable, and of course the document itself. Don't ask me why I've added all three. It's just for safety. I could have looked up some of this data, but whatever. It's all linked here. And what the automation will now do, it will bring all of them in first, and then we're going to have to rerun it in order to actually generate the form. So let's do it. So I'm going to hit create data collection form, and in its first job now is to actually add the client variables, which it has done. There we go. So these are all of our variables from the document, variables, the masters, only copy pasted and linked to this particular client document, the non-disclosure agreement for Acme Incorporated. Okay. So here it has already given me an order in which the questions would appear, and I can change that if I want to. It's just a simple drop down. Then I have to define the variable type. So in this case, I can say that this is text. I mean, all of this is text, I believe. This is a date, and this is a text as well. So that's all I really have to do, define the variable type. And again, you know what? I think that we could probably get the variable typed to be pre-filled during the ChatGPT process. So that could be a thing that could make this better. But ultimately right now, I'm just doing this way. Change the order if you want to. And then what we need to do is just rerun this, right? So unclick, re-click. And what this will do, it will take those variables and it will create a form that I can instantly send to my client because I need this data from him in order to create the documents for him. Let's open this up and boom. We have a JotForm with all of the questions and like a small little description under each one, which tells me what is this question for. And yeah, that's basically it. Now, let's take a look at how I've set up the database. There's not really much to it, but anyway, let's take a look. Database design, very straightforward. We have 3 tables. We have clients, client documents, and client variables. So clients, just a simple name for the client, just a simple text field. Then we have a link to client variables so that we can pull the client variables for that particular client, which is handy. Then we have client documents, just the link back from client documents back to the client. Simple, nothing else. Then we have one little hidden field here. There we go. So client documents, super straightforward. The name just has a concat document type and space with, and then the client basically. Then a link back to the client, a link back to the document type. The description of the document is just a description that goes basically at the header of the form. Then we have a record ID, which is the record ID of this particular client document, and we can hide it for the time being. Then we have the related client variables, just a link back to client variables from this document to those client variables. Simple checkbox, create data collection form, which is our trigger for the vast majority of our processes. We have a form ID, just a simple string where we place the form ID and then the data collection form link. Then let's take a look at client variables. So client variables, again, super straightforward. Leftmost field, which is our label, so to speak, we have our field name, space pipe space, and then the client document so that it looks like so. Then we have a link back to the client, a link back to the variable, and a link back to the client document. From there, we also have a little lookup for the record ID from the client documents. We need that to kind of make sure that the variables are unique. You'll see in a sec when we go through the setup of the automation. Then we have the field name, field description or variable description. Then we have a single select, which is like a drop down, right? And it goes up to 20. You can make it go up to whatever. And then we have the variable type. I have 3 variable types: text, data, number. You have more than that, but for now it is what it is. Then I have a little expression here called variable JF. So variable JotForm. Basically, the JotForm requires us to have a very particular variable name. I don't really think that you need this but in a previous version of this automation, when I was testing it, I kind of needed it. So we probably won't need this. But anyway, keep it. Yeah, the switch goes kind of like this: variable type. If the variable type is text, we print control_text box, number, control number, date, control date time. So yeah, that's basically that. Then we have a JFQID, JotForm question ID, just again pre-filled, super straightforward. And then we have pre-filled text. Not really sure why we need that for, but whatever. It's just a simple text field. That's it for now. In terms of the database, let's take a look at how the automation is set up. Okay, so if you've been watching the channel, chances are that you haven't, but yeah, if you have, you know by now how we trigger records. We usually do this via a little checkbox. Then we set up an automation where essentially we have when a record matches conditions and the condition is that checkbox is checked, then we run a script. The script looks something like this. Feel free to copy this, but make sure to replace my webhook with the webhook that is going to be given to you by Make. Also, don't forget to please add an input variable over here, like so, like I've done here, record_ID. Make sure the capitalization is exactly the same. And don't forget to map the value over here in Airtable record ID. Just press the blue button and just map this. Once you're done with that, press finish, turn it on, and you're done with your trigger. Now, let's jump into our automation. There's a link down in the description, so feel free to follow along with my sort of explanation here. If you want to make this easier, get the blueprint from the description. But anyway, bottom line is that we begin with a webhook. The webhook, this is the webhook link that you need to copy paste into your automation. Simple as that. Then the next step is to fetch that client document. And as soon as we do that from module number 61, as I've got it right here, don't forget to map the record ID course, from module 1. But as soon as we do that, we have two paths. We have two sort of like missions. So the first mission over here, this mission first creates the variables and stops. It doesn't go further. The reason for that is because we want to give the user, i.e. yourself, the ability to edit said variables, only for that reason alone. From there, the next mission is this particular path, basically, that deals with taking the variables that you've now edited and you've added the order, you've tweaked the descriptions, and you've done what you need to do. And now it begins the creation of the JotForm form. Let's go through both of these things. So first and foremost, we have a little filter where we're saying that the related client variables are equal to 0 in length, and then the document type exists. From there, we have a router where we search the master doc variables table for that particular doc record ID, and that is the document type, basically. Once we don't find it, well, technically it should say 0. So in other words, total number of bundles equal to 0. I forgot to put that filter there. But once that is 0, then create a record. In other words, then create the client variable. And this is how I've mapped it. Very straightforward. Basically, I'm taking everything from the master doc variables and I'm just creating a copy-paste sort of thing inside of client variables. Then finally, I'm doing a quick little update on the client document where I'm saying client variables added, please set up and rerun. And at that point, the automation tries to run the second path, but it won't run it because at that point, we simply don't have the client variables there, or at least in module 61. Although we've created them, in other words, because I'm not fetching it again, it knows that in this first run, they don't exist. So yeah, it will only run the second time. Now that you've basically created the first part, then we have the second part where I'm getting that record again for some reason, and then we have the creation of the JotForm form. Please notice that I haven't added any questions here. I'm only creating the form, right? I'm not doing anything else. Then I'm updating my client document with that data, the form ID and the form URL. From there, I'm doing a few things. First of all, I'm dealing with my questions. And this is this path over here. So the first path, this part, deals with my header question, the question that is right at the top, which is this part over here. This. And I want you to notice that I'm kind of dealing with it in a bit of an interesting way. So over here, I've basically set up on a variable called header. Actually, you know what? This can probably be done much easier than that. I think I just need to do this. Yeah, I actually didn't need that. The module that I'm using from JotForm is called Add Questions to Form. And yeah, I'm basically mapping the form from the form that I've just created. And my question type is heading. Order is 0, so that it's always at the top. Then the label is just the name of the form, and the subheader, I've noticed that I've hard-coded it, but really the subheader is this description of the document. That's what it should be. There we go. So that it's dynamic and you can really input whatever you want. And header type is large. Press OK. That's it. Then what we need to do is we need to iterate the client-related variables. We need to get every single one of those client-related variables. And then the next thing that I'm doing, I'm splitting my text boxes from my datetime boxes. There we go. So my text boxes essentially look something like this. Again, I'm mapping the form that I've just created, type is text box, and I'm only touching a few basic things. I'm touching the order, so I'm getting the order of that question, but I'm also adding it into a parse number function because the order is a string and this needs to be a number. Yeah, we're basically converting the string to a number. Simple stuff. Then we have just the size. I believe I'm editing the size to be 50. The label is the field name and the sublabel is the variable description. That's it. Press OK. Dealing with dates, slightly different. Again, we're mapping the form ID, then the type is date time, allow time no, because, well, this is just a date. And then we have the formats, we have the label align, which is set to auto. Again, we're fetching the order and doing the same thing, field name into label, and that's it. I believe I also changed the start week to Monday because that's when most weeks start. The description, just a variable description, and that's that. Press OK. Then what I'm doing next in this particular area is I'm taking every single one of the questions from that form. I'm searching for them. So in other words, I'm using the list of form questions module. I'm mapping my form that I just created, and then I'm searching for that text, the field name and the record ID, like so. When I find it, not equal to 0, when I find it, I want to update that question with the question ID, because maybe later you want to make changes to that question. You want to update some of its properties. Finally, I'm making one final API call, which looks like this. Method is put, and I'm just adding a few little stylistic properties so that it basically looks a little bit better. And that's it. Once you're ready, just press save, and that is the end of the setup of the automation. So that's it, guys. Thank you so much for watching. This was a really fun video to make. Let me know if you want me to do more examples of this sort of thing, maybe using other form builders. I tried to do this via Fillout this time around because it was requested in one of the comments, but Fillout, you kind of need to have an enterprise account. I'm speaking to Fillout to get a demo enterprise account so that we can showcase this. Maybe this is going to come next week. Looking forward to hearing your thoughts in the comments down below. Until next time, thank you so much. Cheers.